Very good.
Good morning, Northeast Radio SD. Steve Jerns, Doreen Foster. Was that better than Ezra?
Yes, awesome song. I had a guy sing that Saturday night at karaoke. Roger, he did an awesome job.
He did. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Roger. Good job.
Yeah.
Should have recorded it. We've got a special guest with us this morning. We have Lake Area Technical College President Tiffany Sanderson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us and helping us break in the new studio.
Yeah, happy 2026.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting week because I'm sure some people had yesterday off and then you go back to work for a little bit today and then the weekend. But yeah, it's going to be a good year. So
it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
No reason not to.
Well, I think you're coming in like full steam almost, if you will, because 2025 was another good year for Lake Area.
Fantastic year. So we just wrapped up our 60th year. Lake Area Tech started here in Watertown in 1965. So we celebrated all year long. And there really were some big milestones that we hit, which is a great launch point going into 2026, but coming off of record enrollment with our student population, scholarship giving as an all-time high, just a lot of really good things in motion for the benefit of our students and ultimately for the communities where they go back to, including here in Watertown.
And you guys did like a tailgate, I don't know if you want to call it a campaign, but that was linked in with some scholarships too.
It sure was. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. So this fall we hit 10 local football games in communities throughout the region where a lot of students come from to go to Lake Area Tech, just as a way to engage with the community and say thanks for a great partnership over the years. But yes, we had all kinds of fun. Each week, several of our programs would go out, have activities for kids. We saw alumni, we engaged with high school students. And at the end of each of those football games, we did two things. Spencer Wagey, one of our ag instructors, former NFL player, would award the MVP of the game, most valuable player. And then we would also draw for a scholarship winner, either a junior or senior who had an interest in going to Lake Area Tech. So 10 scholarships were awarded, $1,000 each. And it's been incredible to see how many of those students are now planning to come to Lake Area next fall.
Wow. And speaking of the scholarships as well, there's the Build Dakota Scholarship too. I'll also plug that while we're kind of working it in. Is that going to open up pretty soon? It is already?
Yeah, as of yesterday, the scholarship window is open for fall of 2026. So if anybody's out there, students or adults, maybe somebody's looking to re-career or pursue their passion, lifelong passion, that it just hasn't been able to come together for them yet, now's the time to think about that. So here's kind of how the process works. First, what is Build Dakota? Build Dakota is a full ride scholarship in a high demand industry here in South Dakota. So think nursing, think welding, think diesel mechanics. And if you're interested in pursuing one of those fields, including in public safety like law enforcement or med fire rescue, if you'd love to be a paramedic, that might be an opportunity. Apply for that program at Lake Area Tech. And once you are accepted into the program, then you can apply for the Build Dakota Scholarship. Again, a full ride scholarship that covers every required expense for the program. So it's not just tuition, it's the associated fees. If you need to have uniforms or you need to have tools to enter into that program, the scholarship covers that all. We are now heading into our 11th cohort of the Build Dakota Scholarship. So at this point, there are literally thousands of people across South Dakota whose lives have been impacted or shaped by that full ride scholarship that allowed them to get into a career of their choosing.
Wow. And it's important to mention, I think a lot of those are partnerships with like local businesses or area businesses that now that they have a job as soon as they graduate.
That's exactly right. So I often help to share what landscape there is around going to college, and especially in a technical college. It used to be that students would start looking for jobs in the spring of their last year of college. That's just not the case anymore. And some of that is thanks to Build Dakota, that students are partnered with an industry partner. They know where they're going to work after their college education because that industry partner has invested in them in the scholarship process, helped them with internships or clinicals along their education. And so when they graduate, they are stepping right into their career with a full-time job.
Wow.
So if anybody's interested,
Yeah.
coming up on January 15th at Lake Area Tech, there's an event called Ready, Set, Go. You can register for this event on our website, lakeareatech.edu. And Ready, Set, Go brings employers who are interested in offering Build Dakota scholarships together with juniors and seniors in high school who are interested in pursuing one of those high demand fields so they can meet each other and have conversations. Does that event work? Yes. Last year, almost 25% of those who were awarded scholarships were part of the Ready, Set, Go event in 2025. So get it on your calendar, January 15th, 2026 at Lake Area Tech, and you can register on our website.
Wow. So it seems to me that you know a lot about education. Maybe tell us a little bit about your background and how you made it to Watertown here, because you do have a background in some education.
Yeah, it's kind of been my whole career. So growing up, I wanted to be a high school agricultural education teacher. So I wanted to help students pursue careers in agriculture. I got my degree at South Dakota State in that, and I have yet to become an agriculture teacher, but I have spent my entire career in education and workforce development. So I've spent time working in the nonprofit world. We lived in Indianapolis for a period of time, and I worked for the National FFA organization. I helped some friends start an education consulting group out of Lincoln, Nebraska when we lived there. So spent some time in the private sector. And then we came back to South Dakota in 2009. And both my husband and I started working for state government at that time. He worked at that point in the Department of Ag, and I worked in the Department of Education. And our careers grew through public service. And I spent some time working for governors Dugard and Nome, and was Secretary of Education up through 2022. Segue to Watertown, South Dakota. I came and took over the presidency at Lake Area Tech on January 1st, 2023, when Mike Cartney had retired. I'd had the chance to work with the technical college system, including Lake Area Tech, for many years prior to that, and just respected so much the work that was happening here in Watertown and the people at Lake Area. And it was just an incredible opportunity to come and be part of that.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate that you moved here and took over. So you're doing a great job from what we understand.
Thank you.
So talk a little bit about then, with all of the accomplishments that you've already had, as well as I'm sure some plans were in place a little. How do you take over and look at long-term planning and things like that?
Absolutely. So my job is to be always looking 5 or 10 years out and figuring out how do the everyday things that happen on Lake Area Tech's campus now help serve our students in the future, make sure we're doing the right things by our industry partners. And so my brain is always in that space. I really enjoy looking ahead. And so we're thinking about how do we make sure that we take good care of the resources, the people, the programs that we have on campus now, and maintain the quality, the excellence, the standard that we expect, and frankly, the community and our partners expect from Lake Area Tech. And we're also always looking ahead at what do we need to be doing down the line. And so in April of 2025, we released our 10-year master campus plan. We finished the archway and opened that facility in the fall of 24. And so that gave us a good chance to then transition to what's next. And so this new master campus plan helps us think about our facilities and the programs at Lake Area Tech. And simultaneous to that, the State Board of Technical Education, which governs all 4 technical college campuses, has set direction collectively about where we head as a system. And the biggest priority in that plan is about making sure we're continuing to meet industry demand for the graduates from our system. So we're doing a great job of creating nurses that are high quality and folks who are going into business and financial services and into automotive and into precision machining, robotics and automation. But week after week, industry says we need more, which is a fantastic thing, right? Industry's hopping in this area of the state and they need more skilled professionals. So it's on us to increase the number of graduates out of our programs. So that's really the impetus behind most of our planning at this point, is how do we create some programs that don't currently exist, and how do we welcome more students, graduate more students from the programs we already have.
Well, and I've seen just in the 4 years or so I've been covering news, some programs adapting and new programs. So when you're thinking 10 years out and you have, AI, for instance, and the technology of computers and they're changing so quickly, it seems that the college also has the ability to adapt, as well, which I think would be complicated without knowing anything, in that background. So how do you deal with those challenges?
Sure. It's kind of like what people probably wrestled with in the 90s when the internet became a thing, right? Or word processing was a thing earlier to that. Like each of these technologies become tools to do our jobs well and to be efficient. The great thing about working in technical education is that we get to use those tools to be effective, to be efficient, but there are many hands-on skills and critical analysis that has to happen in the moment when you're caring for a patient or troubleshooting what's going on in a large mechanical system that runs a power plant or an ethanol facility or something like that. And so it's just another tool that our students and frankly our instructors are learning to use in the context of the field that they're studying or teaching in.
Nice. Talk maybe a little bit about, I think with the sessions going to be coming up in a week or so, I don't know, do you have some things that are on your radar as far as what the college might be looking into or yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. We engage pretty heavily through the legislative session as one of the 4 public technical colleges in the state. What happens in legislative session has a very direct and significant impact on our everyday work. And so even throughout the year, we work with legislators on ideas or policies they're considering. But funding is a big piece of what we watch and engage with during the legislative session. And we work on things like funding for equipment in our facilities. The bread and butter of what makes us unique and really good at what we do is that we've got the latest technology advancements and equipment in our facilities that allow our students to know what's expected of them when they step into jobs day one. And so if they don't have those touch points on today's equipment and have some muscle memory built up because they have practiced, they have troubleshooted, they've been given some instruction, they aren't going to be as effective as we need them to be going into industry. And so that equipment funding is a really important part of the legislative session. We're always watching for what our ideas are proposed that might have an effect on us. Sometimes we support those policy ideas. Sometimes we have to work to say that's not the right idea right now because it would have a really negative effect on our students, the industry partners that we work with, and those kinds of things. So it's always a guessing game. We're always kind of on our toes, figuring out what's coming and how does that impact us and what do we need to do about it.
All right. Thank you. And I'm sure you have to travel there sometimes too and testify, if you will. And that's got to be some extra preparation then. And when you're already pretty busy, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sleep between January and March, but April's a pretty good month.
There you go. Very good. So Lake Area Tech, I hear this sometimes. People will ask anyways, because I'm not sure they always understand with the technical college and so forth, but with housing, and you hear that we need housing, how come Lake Area doesn't have like dorms and things like that?
Sure. Great question. So within state statute, there's a provision that says local school boards, technical colleges, as we fall under the Watertown School Board, cannot own residential housing. Similar to a South Dakota state just down the road owns residential housing or dorms. The same is not true for technical colleges. And so we have to work with private developers and landlords in our communities to provide the housing that's needed. And for a college student, we have to think both about available housing and affordable housing that works within a college student's budget. And so appreciate the landlords in town that take care of our students and provide for them. As we look ahead, actually, let's look back first. Over the last 12 years, Lake Area Tech has grown by about 1,000 students. In the next 10, we're projected to grow by about another 1,000. And so we just need to make sure that there's places for folks to stay and that our students can afford those apartments, or houses or whatever they choose to rent or own while they're here.
Wow. And we're talking over 2,300 students, right?
Yeah, our fall enrollment was just over 2,300 students. By the end of the school year, we should be between 2,800.
Wow, that's amazing. And so how many of all of those individuals, do a lot of them stay in the community and within South Dakota?
Yeah, they sure do. So just really high level, about 80% of our students come from South Dakota towns, every corner of the state. 20% come from neighboring states, or I shouldn't just say neighboring states because they come throughout the country. After they graduate, almost 85% of our students stay in South Dakota. So more stay here than go back home, as an example. And many of those students stay in Northeast South Dakota as well.
Mhm.
Most of our students come from central South Dakota, I think Pierre up to Mobridge, over to the Minnesota border, and then from the upper edge of Sioux Falls to the North Dakota border. That's really where the majority of our students come from, and they stay in that area.
That reminded me too, speaking of peer, you just had another announcement as well that you're going to be setting up, partnering with Avera to do, is it like a simulator
Yeah,
situation? Tell us about that.
absolutely. So within our nursing program, it's our third largest program on campus between our licensed practical nursing and registered nursing programs. And our students come from all over the country. Our nursing staff is absolutely incredible. The NCLEX pass rates for both LPN and RN are just out of this world. And so it's a really highly regarded program and highly in demand. And we've partnered with the Capital City campus and Avera in Pierre for the last several years. And one of the options within nursing, both at LPN and RN, is a hybrid program. So students take the theory portions online, and then they do labs at their clinical site, their healthcare partner site, or come to Watertown for those skills checks for those labs. If you're in Phillips, South Dakota, or in Winter, South Dakota, coming to Watertown 6 to 12 times per semester can be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we partnered in Pierre with Capital City campus and with Avera to have a site so students don't have to travel quite so far. And we've had about 30 students there in the last several years, but we haven't had a full simulation center like we have on campus. And so Avera has provided the funding to renovate one of the spaces at Capital City campus. And as of the start of this spring semester, that facility will be open and available for our nursing students there. And so we anticipate that we'll continue to have nursing students in the Pierre area. This should help them save quite a few miles in having to come to Watertown for those labs throughout the semester and just make it a lot smoother experience for them. And think about maybe a single mom who's trying to advance her career and get into nursing, and transportation and routinely having childcare while she needs to come to Watertown could be a challenge, but getting to the Pierre site could be a lot easier for her. We're just trying to make sure that our students in every life situation have the opportunity to advance their careers.
That's a good point too. I think sometimes people forget that you talk often about the non-traditional student, but maybe people think, oh, it's college, so it's kids right out of high school or young adults, and they're going to college now. But you have, these mothers, fathers, whatever, coming that are 30, 40, however old, and going back to school, or maybe expanding their education, if you will. So they have different lives, like you said, kids or whatever's going on. So that's got to be what you have to think about to consider when you're scheduling things out or planning. That's got to be complex as well.
Yeah, like 6-dimensional puzzle that our staff works on all the time to make sure that all the parts and pieces fit in place for folks.
Wow. And you also have a lot of activities too for the students. I'm always following. And then there's esports, and then there's they can just go hang out here and kind of relax and chill and study, or you have a chill room. I can't remember what it's called, but they can go in there and kind of just relax and work. But there's always different things you guys have going on too.
There are always things happening on campus. So students come to Lake Area Tech because they want to go into a profession that there's going to be great career opportunities. They're going to be paid well. They want to get in and out really fast, but they also want to build a community and have friends and a social life while they're at school. And so intramural sports, esports has done tremendously well. They just competed for a national title in December after just being in existence for about 18 months. So phenomenal guys that are part of that organization. There are all kinds of opportunities. Students said, hey, we'd like to have a music program. And so Sarah Becker, our psychology instructor, started a choir with the help of the Community Foundation and some seed funds this last year. And so just really trying to build that community of students, opportunities for students with all kinds of interests to connect with peers on campus.
Wow, that's amazing. Doreen, how are you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm just listening. You have a great staff, too, that makes things run very smoothly over there.
Absolutely. Our staff is about 250 strong at this point. Plus, we have adjuncts who help us teach a class, maybe a couple of them here or there throughout each semester. And there is no way that we are Lake Area Tech without that crew. Mm-hmm. From the folks that make sure that our facilities look as incredible as they always do, to folks who are continually looking at what's going on, what's coming next in terms of technology and equipment and programming areas, and making all those parts and pieces come together.
That's awesome. You're a woman of many hats, and earlier off air, you said you worked radio.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So I grew up in the northwest part of South Dakota, and right before my freshman year of high school, my mom and dad thought I needed a part-time job, and I applied at KBJM Radio in Lemon, farm broadcasting station that covered about a 90-mile area, and worked throughout high school at KBJM, did every possible shift and filled in on maternity leaves or vacations, and was also the person that scrubbed the windows every summer, and so just filled every possible role. But it was a great way to start my career and get a sense for what time meant and managing time and a lot of people and getting connected in the community. And so I can't thank Mike Schweitzer enough, who was the owner of that station, for trusting. Can you imagine a 14-year-old coming in and being on air? And he did. I appreciate it.
So when you were playing the music, did you play 45 records?
It was at the time when we still had a couple of records. We had CDs, no digital music yet at that point. There was a cassette deck, but no 8 tracks.
Okay. So if we need a backup plan, there we go.
Yeah, you're going to have to teach me some new technology. There's no stacks to change the wires and that kind of thing. It seems a little more straightforward right now.
It's all point and click now, huh?
That's right.
How far back did you have records and 8 tracks?
Oh yeah, reel-to-reel machines.
Oh
yeah, we had those.
Yeah, I have interviews of Chris Ledoux on reel-to-reel.
Wow.
And also the 45 records in college when I was at SDSU, and then records at the Pugsley Center for South Dakota Public Broadcasting when I worked there. So yeah, it's pretty cool that you go way back to radio. I think that's awesome. So
absolutely
great.
Well, I want to make sure before we wrap up that we leave an opportunity for you to talk about anything that we might have missed or anything that you want to get out there for sure.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the community of supporters that surround Lake Area Tech, that take care of our students while they're here in Watertown, that offer them full-time or part-time jobs, that help them stay here in the region. I've had a chance to work through my career with technical or community colleges across the country. And truly what Watertown has with Lake Area Tech and the partnerships doesn't exist in very many places. It is a truly special partnership, and I just can't thank people enough for that. So 2025 was a pretty banner year, and I anticipate 2026 to be much the same.
Well, and on a personal note, my daughter's a senior this year, and she's into nursing, so she's doing some caregiving now already, working out at the village, and she's doing the dual credits and so on. So she's already so confident and independent that her and her friend are looking at apartments. She knows she's going to have income. She knows she's going to have a job as soon as she's done with college. And she's like almost half done with college, it seems. And she's super excited about
That's
it
awesome.
all. So
That's fantastic.
So I appreciate having that in our community because it's not anything I remember as a youngster as thinking, gosh, what do I want to do? And she's got her head on. She's a good girl. So,
Love it.
Yeah. Anything else from you, Doreen? You good?
No, I'm good.
Okay, excellent. Well, President Tiffany Sanderson, we appreciate you coming in and checking out the studio, giving us some information, and appreciate everything that you do for the community.
Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah, you bet. Well, that does it here from Northeast Radio SD, and Doreen, put another song on for us, why don't you?